Shabbat Shalom. Let me get my talus. Whoop. You don't want to know what's under here. So we welcome Cantor Rena Shapiro from Ambridge, Pennsylvania, right outside of Pittsburgh. And so delightful. I think she and Cantor Frank have a very long history together. And it's really nice to be able to reconnect them and to share Shabbat together.
Pleasure, thank you.
So we're really happy, and we put your name in lights. I don't know if you noticed it, but everyone all over Sheridan Drive knows that you're here. They don't know your last name, but they know there's someone named Cantor Rita. I wonder who they think this cantor is. They probably don't even know what a cantor is.
They have a lovely one here, so I'm sure they do.
Well, I'm talking about the non-Jews. You know, most of the people going by, they have no idea what a cantor is. They probably think it's like a flask of beer or something. Isn't that another way of cantor? Yeah, I was sitting with my youngest, my 6-year-old today. For Shabbat dinner. We had Shabbat dinner together, and I said, you know what's better than the food is the company. And he looked at me, he was really confused. He thought company meant like a company. So I had to explain. It's nicer to be with company. So let's take a nice deep breath of Shabbat. When we breathe in one another. We breathe in God. We breathe in the world, and we breathe in all parts of ourself. It's amazing, all the connections we have. Let's take a moment to think back to our week, back to Sunday. It feels so long ago. It feels like ages ago. And Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, how quickly the week can go. Thursday and Friday, all the way to today. Think about things that you are so happy you experienced, the joy. Maybe it was just the sunshine hitting these beautiful leaves. Maybe it was a friend that you met or a family member that you saw. And think about things that maybe were sadder, people you said goodbye to. Something that happened that you weren't proud of, something that happened that was. And we're going to take all that in. We're going to breathe in all the things that we want to retain. And we're going to try to breathe out all the things that we want to expunge from our lives. So let's breathe in a nice big breath of Shabbat. So tonight, hopefully, this will really be a chance to decompress from the week. And we're going to have a lot of music. We have double the cantors plus Michael, so I think we have plenty of music here. And we're going to have a chance to really welcome Rena into our home. I'm really delighted. I learned a coincidence tonight, and there's so many coincidences. The Jewish world is just so small. Within 1 second of us talking, we already had multiple connections. So I actually had been to her community, Beth Samuel, right in 2004 when I graduated rabbinical program. I was in charge of the whole Mid-Atlantic region for the Reconstructionist movement, and I went up with my good friend and mentor Freddie Cooper, and we took the train 9 hours from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh. It only takes 3.5 hours to drive, but somehow it took 9 hours. And it was after September 11th a couple of years, so they were still like very nerve-wracking on the trains.
Local.
It was local. You get behind all the different non-Amtrak, they get the dregs. And I got to spend a Shabbat with her community long before she was there, actually. It was such a sweet community. It's a very unique community. Ambridge is connected to Pittsburgh, but it's at least a half hour outside of it. And it's kind of very rural. I guess if you're going to compare it here, it's the South Towns, but pretty far, like Ellicottville, let's say. And if you know, like the Jewish community there, it's the only Jewish community. It is the Jewish community, and it has a very long history, I think well over 100 years. And it's not just one community. It was kind of conservative and reform and Reconstructionist at times, and they kind of blended all together to make one place. So when I looked at the website and I saw that building, I felt so much warmth because I just had such a good experience. I love smaller communities that are just so nurturing, especially ones that are in places where people really understand the value of being together because they don't have other camaraderie except for it. So we really welcome you here. And I also learned she worked in Poughkeepsie for many, many years. And in Poughkeepsie, a good friend of mine who graduated, another Rita. Are all rabbis? Bruce said, are all rabbis Rita? Are all people that we know Rita? Did Rita come up?
Rita.
Yeah, we know. She lives up there, and they work together, I guess, for a little bit too.
Oh, yeah.
So we are going, I think you already did Shalom Aleichem,
No, we're going
right?
to do it now.
Oh, okay, so we're going to do it again. So we're going to welcome the angels of Shabbat. It's on page 142. Think about those angels giving you a little massage, letting you rest on Shabbat.
So when Cantor Frank and I were in cantorial school together, one of our teachers was the famous Cantor Saul Zim. We're now proud to call him our colleague, right? So this is a melody. He wrote a zillion melodies, many of which you know, but he wrote this one as well, and I'm sure you'll pick it up for Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Lachem Seitchem l'shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ya la la la, la la, ya la la la, la la, ya la la la, la, ya la la la, ya la la la, la la, ya la la la, la la, ya la la la, la, ya la la la, la. You did really well.
That was so much fun. I
Singing
love that one.
congregation. I love it.
Let's turn to page, well, it's because you inspire us. Page 124, I'm going to invite Bruce Corris, our synagogue president and birthday boy this week, to read responsibly at the bottom there.
By the way, do you notice her yarmulke? That's got notes and everything on it? It's a musical yarmulke. Very nice.
It's a harmonica.
That's a harmonica yarmulke. There we go. Responsibly, please. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May this threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
Before you sit down, Bruce, I'm going to invite you to go down to light our candles. I always have to remind people when they light candles and it's their birthday week, do not blow them out. Our candle lighting is on page 120. And maybe we'll turn to our two cantors to help lead us in the blessing. I think we can let you off the hook. Yeah,
Yeah, my birthday wish came true. We got two cantors.
He told me I should sit back there with him. Even the new matches are like that. We have to talk to Jill in the gift shop. Blessed are the candles that light our way on Shabbat. Rita, would you like to lead us in the Kiddush? It's on page 123. Borei peri hagafen. Kivanu v'chata, v'yotanu kidashta, v'kol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'yavahu v'ratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch Baruch Shemo. Amen. L'chaim, to life. And And I think we should sing the verse. Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach. And many more. You're really getting to know our congregation here. We're going to turn to L'Chadodi. Now that we've welcomed each other into Shabbat, let's take a moment to actually welcome Shabbat into the room. So we're going to sing on page 138. We're going to sing the first 3 verses, and then we skip to number 9, and the 9th verse, we turn to the doorway over there. We bow to Shabbat as it officially enters because we're ready for her, and then we welcome each other by wishing each other a Shabbat Shalom.
Go.
And we come together. If you're already standing, don't sit down. Now we're ready. I don't want to, you're supposed to get a workout at the synagogue, but I understand for some people, it can be challenging to come up and down and up and down. So we try to keep you up. Okay, so page 146, our call to community. Page 149, and in honor of Shabbat Bereshit, let's read the top reading together. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and seasons glide. Your breath guides the sails of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. You praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. And we are going to be singing Roll into the Dark, which is kind of using the prayer on page 148, and it'll immediately follow going into the Shema on 152. The Shema, page 152.
Yisrael
You may be seated, and we turn to the V'ahavta, page 154.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol miyotecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher Anochim mitzaveka hayom al levavecha v'shinata levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech u'v'shochtecha u'v'komecha u'kshartam leot hayadecha v'hayu letotafot heinecha u'kata המזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני Adonai Elohechem.
Page 157 at the bottom. We're going to read responsively, and we'll immediately turn to the Mechamocha on 158. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered at Sinai. We bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea, which we will do now.
You'll recognize the tune. We've done it before with a little bit of Debbie Friedman.
invite you to rise on page 164. As we embark on the tefillah, the Amidah, the central part where we can bare our soul to God, on this Shabbat, where we're remembering Tree of Life, but we're also thinking about the Tree of Knowledge and Genesis and the Tree of Life. That's the Torah. I want you to think of yourself as a tree of life, and I'm going to read a poem by Dr. Terrence Johnson. That's from ritualwell.com. It's called We Are the Tree of Life, before we begin our silent prayer. Together we stand strong, like a tree deeply rooted in the foundation of love. We are the branches that spread out in many directions, reaching for a common place. We are the leaves and flowers produced by the rain that showers us with hope. We grow unified in our purpose to be beautiful beings of peace. We are uniquely colored and shaped, and we bring life to this tree. So take some time now from 164 to page 180 for your own private prayers. Think of what it means to be that tree and the leaves that we have to give to one another and to the world. Bruce and I were just talking how it feels like that melody's now from Sinai. When you first hear a melody, it feels strange, and then over time, you can't imagine ever not having it.
Comes an old friend.
So we're not going to read from the Torah, but I came across a wonderful poem by our poet resident, Gloria Tatuski over there, who brought this to our Torah study group. It's an amazing poem about our Torah portion, and I think it's as good as Torah as it could get. It's wonderful, so I'm going to read it, and if anyone wants her to sign an autograph, you can get a copy afterwards. It's called In the Beginning. Let us begin at the beginning. Before they did all of that sinning, God was inspired. He did not rehearse. He just created the great universe. God didn't need General Electric. He made the light, and we respect it. He made all the birds and taught them to fly, then taught the sun how to shine in the sky. Oh, what a great, wonderful planet, but we must not take it for granted. Better than Mercury, Venus, or Mars, Goldilocks planet, this one is ours. God made the fruit, God made the honey, all of it free, no need for money. Life was so perfect, life was so sweet, except for the apple that no one could eat. Worthy of our appreciation, the whole shebang, all of creation. Isn't it all perfectly clear? Without creation, we wouldn't be here. God made the beast, God made the human. God made a man, God gave him a woman. Woman was made as helpmate to man. That is how all of the trouble began. Woman was weak, she couldn't grapple. She took the first bite of the apple. She made the first terrible mistake. That's what you get when you talk to a snake. God was the judge, God was the jury. God was enraged into a fury. Eve had done wrong, she was not right. That's when God said, "Get out of my sight." That's what took place in the beginning, and there was more error and sinning. Adam and Eve made a terrible mess. God had to give them another address. That's why we must study the Torah, also the Mishnah and the Gemara. Learn to obey God's holy words to make this the best of all possible worlds. October 20th, 2011. She's so creative with her rhymes. It's wonderful.
That's the first time I've ever heard the whole shebang.
Yeah. Bruce said it's the only time that he's heard the whole shebang in reference to the Torah. Yeah. It reminds me of the joke about why baseball is Jewish, is part of the Torah, because it begins with the beginning. Sorry. That was for Alan. Oh, he's in Greece, I think. So we're going to take time to remember to think about those who are in need of healing. I'm going to read our list here, and then we'll go around. And if you have others that you're thinking about, then we'll pray together the Mishaberach on page 370. Judy Bardak, Bobby DeBruin, who's back at home, Lynn Dubowitz, Sarah Freed, Howard Hilfstein, Roxanne Cohn, Cindy Lieber, Bob McDonald, Joe Ostroff, Stan Polanski, Howard Rosenhawk, Flora Snee, Deborah Sorensen, Stephen Zoller, Jenny O'Donnell, and William Bashara. We'll go around, and if you have other names. Wow. We bring all those names together into our heart, and those among us that are in need as well, as we pray the Mishaberach.
Mishaberach to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberoch imotenu mikor haberacha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
A complete healing of body and soul. So I'm going to be turning it over to Cantor Rena Shapiro. Oh, she's really a Kolbo. She's in charge of her community. She's the only the leader there at the Beth Samuel Jewish Center in Ambridge, Pennsylvania, outside of Pittsburgh. And the most important thing about her time in Pittsburgh, she's been there since 2014, is that she has 4 grandchildren within walking distance to her house. So maybe Bruce and I, maybe we can come down.
It's a real blessing, and Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Rabbi, and thank you for inviting me to join my friend and colleague, Cantor Frank, for this very special Shabbat. As you know, our Torah reading begins again this week with Bereshit, in the beginning. We read how God created each of the 6 days and rested on the 7th. In the first chapter, we read, Vayar Elohim et kol asher asa, vehine tov me'od. God saw all that God created, and it was very good. And here's the important part right here. It's all important. It says, there was evening and there was morning, and it was very good. It said there was evening and there was morning. It didn't say there was morning and then there was evening and that was the first day. Or there was morning and there was evening, and that was the second day. No, it said there was evening and there was morning, and it was very good, and that was the first day. And it went on the same for the second day. So this, by the way, is our proof text for why we begin each day the evening before. There was evening and there was morning. So I'd like to begin our little sermon and song here with Hine Tov Ma'od. Do you have the handout? Good. So I'd like to teach you the top part of this, Vayar Elohim et kol asher asa. I'll sing it through once, and then Cantor will sing it with me, and you'll all join in, I hope. And then she and I will do a little duet on the bottom of the page, and then we will go back to the top and include you once again. So here we go. Vayar Elohim et kol asher asa, vehine tov me'od. Vayar Elohim et kol asher asa, vehine tov me'od. Try that part with us. Here we go. Vayar Elohim et kol asher asa, vehine tov me'od. Vayar Elohim et kol asher asa, vehine tov me'od. Now the cantors. There was evening, there was morning, there was evening, there was morning. Join us. Vayar Elohim et kol asher asa, vehine tov me'od. Vayar Elohim et kol asher asa, vehine tov me'od. Vahi erev, vahi boker, tov me'od. Vahi erev, vahi boker, tov me'od. Last time together at the top. Vahi כל אשר עשה, והנה טוב מאוד. וירא אלוהים את כל אשר עשה, והנה טוב מאוד. Beautiful, thank you. Now, on the high holidays, you will remember that in each service during the Amidah, we had a special insertion, Zochreinu l'chaim, remember us for life, sovereign of life, and write us in the book of life for your sake, O God of life. Life, as you heard, is mentioned 4 times in this little verse, which we chanted over and over on the holiest days of our year. God and life go together. When we see life, we see the hand of God. And when we choose life, we are partners with God in creation. As you know, we are here to continue God's work of creation, to work to repair the world, since God left that task to us. And there is actually a song which addresses this. It's on the back of your handout. We are partners. So the top 4 lines are the chorus, and I'd like you to try to pick that up. It's really pretty easy. And then the indented part are the verses, which I'll sing, and they will go back to the chorus for you as well. We are partners in the work of creation. We are partners, and the work goes on. We are partners in a world filled with wonder. We are partners, and the world goes on. Try it. We are partners in the work of creation. We are partners, and the work goes on. We are partners in a world filled with wonder. We are partners, and the world goes on. Dark and empty were the raging waters up to the moment that the world began. Into the silence a word was spoken. God needed partners to complete the plan. We are partners in the work of creation. We are partners, and the work goes on. We are partners in a world filled with wonder. We are partners, and the world goes on. There's a melody that's deep within us. There's a Torah written in our hearts. Every moment is a new creation. Every blessing is a holy spark. We are partners in the work of creation. We are partners, and the work goes on. We are partners in a world filled with wonder. We are partners, and the world goes on. And so I want to continue a little bit now. I'm just going to put my guitar down, so I'll speak for a few minutes and then sing once again when I'm just about finished. So, in our liturgy, we speak to God as we pray for life, as I mentioned before. In the Torah reading at the end of Deuteronomy, at the end of the 5 books, God speaks to us. Moses gives the people one of his last speeches. We all know the words, "I have set before you life or death, blessing or curse." The Israelites are commanded to enter a covenant with God and to choose life so that they and their descendants may live. And Moses speaks to those who are standing here this day and those who are not here this day. Well, who might that be? He's not speaking of those who stayed home that day or called in sick or just decided to skip the meeting. He's referring to us, as I heard, to you and me. Moses makes it clear that he's speaking across the generations, addressing everyone, even those who are not yet present to hear him. And yes, it is a commandment, one of the 613. The obvious question is, who in the world would choose death? What kind of a choice is really being offered here? Wouldn't everyone prefer life over death, blessing over curse? The mitzvah to choose life is grounded in the belief that we can make moral choices. Let me explain. There are two ways to choose life. The first way is the I way. If we want, we can choose to think of ourselves first, worrying about our own needs and wishes and desires, and only much later to consider the needs, wishes, and desires of others. Another way to choose life is the you way. Before we act, decide, or speak, we can choose to think about how our actions, decisions, and words will affect others today. And we can think about how our behavior will affect future generations, including our own children and grandchildren. A real choice is, in fact, given to us. Do we live in a way that supports life in the broadest sense, or do we live in a way that serves only ourselves? This last choice ultimately leads to death, not life. Moses is being the ultimate spiritual teacher here at the end of his life, and there is a sense of urgency in his words. Perhaps we feel it even more today after the events of last year, most especially at the Tree of Life in my home city now of Pittsburgh. Moses is telling us that our self-limiting beliefs are keeping us from fully participating in the unfolding of creation. We need to expand our sense of the possible and to align our beliefs about ourselves with our true potential. This was the message of the high holidays, to give up our acquired habit of powerlessness, the idea that we cannot change, and while trembling at times, crack open the door or the window again to new possibilities and let the breeze rush in. We aim to open our hearts, even if that means opening ourselves to uncertainty and even pain. And it is also the message of this week's Parsha, Bereshit, as we begin once more. We have the ability to be God's partners in allowing life to flourish. Every time we use our medical resources to save a life, to extend life, or to improve the quality of life, we are helping God. But we do not need to be medical professionals to choose life in our day-to-day actions. Whenever we enhance the soul of another human being, we are choosing life. Something as simple as an act of kindness, a compliment, a helping hand, becomes a way of choosing life. The rabbis taught that visiting a sick person removes 1/60th of their illness. When we stop someone from gossiping, we're adding to their life. When we recognize the dignity of another, whether through acts of charity or kind words, we are choosing life. On the other hand, when we react in a way that removes the dignity of any human being, we are choosing death. When we let our neighbor go hungry or refuse to honor our parents or gossip or cheat, we are acting against the God of life. The rabbis taught that to humiliate another human being publicly is the equivalent of murder. Acts that denigrate another race or people undermine life. And so we are bound to this covenant of so many years ago. Although Moses' words are so timeless, he could be delivering them in our synagogues today. And now we need to figure out how to allow this inheritance to guide our lives as we start over again in the beginning, Bereshit, more resolute than ever. May we be inspired to greet the new year with hope and enthusiasm, in spite of the enormous tasks that we may see before us. But there's no time like the present, Bereshit, in the beginning, to resolve to make a positive difference or to continue the good work we've been doing. I'd like to suggest that this is the optimal time to choose life, that this is the best part of your life. And with that, I'll conclude with a song which I only recently found. It was written by Susan Werner, and as you will hear many times this phrase, it's entitled, May I Suggest. May I suggest may I suggest to you, may I suggest this is the best part of your life. May I suggest this time is blessed for you. This time is blessed and shining almost blinding bright. Just turn your head and you'll begin to see the 1,000 reasons that were just beyond your sight. The reasons why I suggest to you, why I suggest this is the best part of your life. There is a world that's been addressed to you intended only for your eyes. A secret world, like a treasure chest to you, of private scenes and brilliant dreams that mesmerize. A tender lover's smile, a tiny baby's hands, the million stars that fill the turning day and night. Oh, I suggest to you, oh, I suggest this is the best part of your life. There is a hope that's been expressed to you, the hope of 100 generations, maybe more. This is the faith that they invest in you. It's that you'll do one better than was done before. Inside you know, inside you understand, inside you know what's yours to finally set right. And I suggest to you, and I suggest this is the best part of your life. This is a song, comes from the west to you. Comes from the west, comes from the slowly setting sun. This is a song with a request of you to see how very short the endless days will run. And when they're gone, and when the dark descends, oh, we'd give anything for one more hour of light. May I suggest to you, may I suggest this is the best part of your life. Shabbat Shalom.
Let's take a moment just to sit on those words and to digest them, both the songs and the words. We're going to turn to Aleinu, which is on page 586. I'm not going to open the ark because we still haven't repaired the curtain there. But Aleinu is a sign for us to remember to do the things that we have to do. Remember to take seriously the moments in our life. So if you acknowledge how wonderful and amazing this life is, rise, and it's your opportunity to participate and to make this world whole. 586 again.
Aleinu l'shabbat l'adon hakol, l'ateit gdula liyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu guyei haratzot, velo samanu kimishpachot adama, shelo sam kakenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonah.
591.
And Adonai, the Melech al kol haaretz, Hayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo
You may be seated. We're going to turn to Kaddish Yatom on page 598. I think when we planned having Cantorina come to our community, we didn't actually realize that this would be the English yard site of the Tree of Life shooting. And I certainly didn't realize, because when I came to Beth Samuel, the other community I visited was part of Tree of Life. It wasn't at that time, and Jerry Rabinowitz, who was the president of that community, I met him as a wonderful person in the same trip that I came to her community. And he was one of the victims, unfortunately, of the shooting. So I'm going to bring over Cantorina. She has something from the Pittsburgh paper, I believe, and also the CCAR to share.
Thank you. Thanks so much. So this morning, before I left, I had our weekly Jewish paper, the Jewish Chronicle of Pittsburgh, was on my doorstep, and I picked it up and put it in the car. Didn't really take a look at it at that point. I was ready to go, but I figured I would take a look at it once I got to the Frank residence, and it's an entire issue devoted, one of two, actually devoted to remembering. And so I did find something that I would like to share with you from that. But first I want to read a piece that was written shortly after the shooting, within hours last year. This is by Alden Sullivan, who is a contemporary liturgist, writes poetry and prayers today. And he wrote an acrostic that spells out Tree of Life, Pittsburgh, Tree of Life, with 3 stanzas. The first stanza, the acrostic is Tree of Life, T-R-E-E, etc. And the second one is spelled out Pittsburgh, and the third, again, is Tree of Life. So we shared this last year as a part of a healing service that we did within a couple of weeks of the shooting, and I thought it would be appropriate to share it this time, and I thank you, Rabbi, for giving me the opportunity. I also left a copy of this on my bima at Beth Samuel for the people who are going to be leading there in my place this weekend. So here it is, Tree of Life, Pittsburgh, Tree of Life. Tree of Life, revive our souls, enrich our days, entreating your blessings. O God of peace, fill our hearts with comfort, letting your Torah shine in the fullness of our love, faith in you, our God, eternal source of blessings. Praying for healing in the depths of despair, thanking God for the survivors, thanking God for the first responders, sorrow crushing our hearts, bereaved beyond belief, united in our love, returning to you in faith, God of Israel, healer of generations. Tree of Life, Redeemer of Israel, enliven this moment with healing, enliven this moment with hope. O Rock of Israel, forget not the Jews of Pittsburgh. Let your love flow in the days ahead for justice and peace everlasting. And in one page of the newspaper that I selected to share with you today, it's a letter from the families of those who were lost. And here's what it says. We, the families of the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting, want to thank you for your support and love over the past year.
Our families lost 11 irreplaceable, beautiful Jewish souls. The sorrow and agony was deeply personal and unending. Through your unwavering support, you showed us that we are all one in our sorrow. You showed that the mindless hate that stole our loved ones has no place in America. Thank you for showing us that we are one community, one Jewish, one interfaith, one Pittsburgh, one country, and one world. We are truly stronger together. With love from the families of Joyce Feinberg, Richard Gottfried, Rose Mallinger, Jerry Rabinowitz, Cecil Rosenthal, David Rosenthal, Bernice Simon, Sylvan Simon, Daniel Stein, Melvin Wax, Irving Younger.
There will be an opportunity at 5 o'clock for a moment of silence on Sunday. So just pay attention to that. And we will be having a memorial Havdalah service on the Hebrew Yard site, which, believe it or not, is not for another 3 weeks. But we're also remembering in our community Mary Lou Davis, Zeta Fraden, Gordon Middleman, Henry Padikoff, Giacombo Jack Sacamando, Leda Shunk, Doris Sellers, Evelyn Solomons, Susan Solander, and Eric Spire, who passed within this last month and whose families are in grieving. We also are thinking about the names of Joshua Anbar, John W. Atkinson, Mary Jane Atkinson, Esther Bates, Seymour Berger, Mildred Bluestone, Moisey Bronstein, Max Brown, Sarah Cohen, Bernie Davis, John S. Fine, Jack Friedferdig, Rana Gallman, Frank Gallo, Alan Gilman, Ann E. Godshow, Elliot Goldman, Benjamin Green, Dora Heskins, Mark G. Hirschhorn, Daniel Seth Humland, Giddel Hutner, Irving Korn, Anita Bernstein Lannard, Morton Levy, Phyllis Littman, Albert Markel, Sarah Pliss, Herman Nadel, Harriet Ritzer, Alan Robbins, Richard Russlander, Minnie Baker Silverman, Sylvia Simon, Harry Lewis Smith, Mark Suchman, Ruben Sunshine, Stephen E. Sweet, Louis Tobkin, and Joan Zinderman. And I neglected to mention 2 names who died this past week. Galina Grinman, a Russian woman, just about 90. Beautiful, so amazing survivor who lived at Federation housing for a little while. And Hedy Neischuler, that's the mother of Karen Place. The funeral is out of town this coming Sunday, but our hearts and prayers are with the family on this difficult week. So we'll go around. If there's other names, just raise your hand.
Hortense Goldstein and Lisa Nussbaum.
Martha Dobkin.
If there's ever a time where you want a name read, just call our office and speak to Nancy, and we can always have that. So those of you whose custom it is to rise, we rise in honor of those that we're thinking about, as well as those in Pittsburgh. And actually, why don't I bring Rabbi Rain over here? Cantor and Rabbi Kolbo. 598, why don't you lead for us in honor of Pittsburgh?
Thank you, in my honor. Yit Gadal, V'yit Kadash, Shmei Rabbah, V'yomah Divrach Yerutei, V'yamlich Malchutei, V'chayechon, V'yomechon, V'chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael, V'agalah V'zman Kari V'yimeru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach, Elam L'amei Omaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh, V'yithadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shmei Dekudashah Rechu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiram b'yama v'yimeru, amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabba min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru, amen. Oseh shalom ben Romav, Huya aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru, amen.
May all the souls that we're thinking about have peace, and may our world have peace one day. You may be seated. I'm going to invite Bruce Corus. In addition to celebrating his birthday on Wednesday, he's again in charge of announcements.
Shabbat Shalom. True story, 50 years ago today, I was not on this bima doing the announcements. I was on that bima next door doing my bar mitzvah speech. 50 years ago today. Yeah. And it's amazing how many people that were there are still. Joe Glickman was there. Marlene Glickman was in the choir. Elaine Kellick was there. Renee Klein was there. And I still see them all the time. Very cool. Mom was there, of course. Anyhow, Shabbat Shalom. We, of course, would like to welcome Cantor Rena Shapiro and thank you for enriching our service this evening. It is wonderful to have you as part of our community. A year ago, we all became part of the Pittsburgh community, and we still are. Thank you for coming tonight. And of course, thank you to Rabbi Alex and Cantor Frank and Michael Frank for such a nice, look at the three of them. It's kind of a reverse Peter, Paul, and Mary kind of a thing going here. Kind of a Cantor Oreo cookie, maybe. Anyway, you were enjoying yourself tonight, Mike. You had two Cantors.
And I'm in the middle of the cookie.
And you're in the middle of the cookie. Anyhow, really nice tonight. Thank you so much. Torah study tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, followed by the Shabbat morning service at 10:45, and Cantor Rena will be back tomorrow morning to participate in the Shabbat morning service. Bingo Monday, 7:30, doors open at 6:30. We can always use another volunteer or 7, so please, if you can help us, join us. Our last Shabbatas of the year will be this Tuesday, October 29th, from 4 o'clock till 7 or until sold out. You can reserve one if you want. Talk to Joanne about that. Next Friday is our Erev Shabbat family service and consecration. The little kids are going to be running around up here. It's going to be a hoot. Join us as we welcome our new students to religious school, and of course, a very festive Oneg will follow. You saw the pod outside. That means it's rummage sale time. Tomorrow, if you can come over in the afternoon and help the women of Shir Shalom in setup, talk to Janelle afterward. There's a lot of stuff this year. There's tons and tons and tons of stuff. So they could use the help doing the setup tomorrow. They could use the help Sunday morning during the rummage sale, and you get the chance to do some shopping as well. A lot of stuff this year. Also Sunday morning, sponsor a student participating in our first ever color run. The religious school color run will take place Sunday morning at 10:30. All the funds raised will be donated to our religious school.
We've already raised $1,500.
Wow. That's excellent. Save the date. We have a very special Hanukkah concert coming up on Saturday, December 14th at 7:30 p.m., featuring Cantor Arlene Frank, the guest musicians who helped with her on her newly released Hanukkah Nights album, and we will be giving out complimentary CDs for the Hanukkah concert. Thank you to the generosity of Edward and Deborah Fine for that. This undertaking was a huge undertaking by the Cantor.
It's still going on.
And it's still not done yet.
Well, there's so many layers
still-
of
yes.
this that I didn't know about.
But Western New York musicians took part in this. Ken Kaufman, thank you, who you saw here on the High Holidays and in the Yom HaShoah observance, and at the, took part in the Cantor concert? No, he was here for
Yes,
Crystal
he did
Knot.
take part
He was
in
here for Crystal
Crystal
Knot.
Knot and the Cantor concert.
And he engineered this for you.
Yes.
And he's remarkable. So
He
this is,
designed this teardrop over here.
oh, did he?
He had that design.
Oh, that's cool. All right. Anyway, so we are not selling the CDs. This has been a huge undertaking by the temple, by the Cantor, by some generous donors. So if you would like to help defray the cost for that, maybe make a donation to our music fund, that would be wonderful. It's going to be a very fun evening, December 14th, Saturday, December 14th, for the release and the debut of Hanukkah Nights. 8 crazy nights, 8 crazy tracks, and a really wonderful CD. We want to wish all of you Shabbat Shalom. We would like to thank Maureen Seitz from the Women of Shir Shalom for helping with our oneg, which is down the hall in the open area, because they've been busy setting up the rummage sale in the social hall. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
So, before we get to the very final song, I remember something about your community. You couldn't do anything with the Pittsburgh Steelers played. Is that still true? So I brought my Eagles hat here. Actually, we have a friend coming up tomorrow from Philadelphia that's going to be at the service. Okay, so we have, there it's getting thrown. We're going to be, Cantors times 3 and Mike are going to be singing from 625 Don Olam, but not the very last verse, Biyado.
So yes, this is the last verse. It's a setting by Craig Taubman. Into your hands I entrust my spirit when I sleep and when I wake, and with my spirit, my body also, the eternal is with me. I will not fear. Biyado of kidruchi, be'eti sham ve'ira. Ve'im ruchi kiviati, Adonai li velo ira. Ve'im ruchi kiviati, Adonai li velo ira. My soul I give to you. My spirit in your care. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Hold me in your hand. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Safely in your hand. My soul, Biyado of kidruchi, be'eti sham ve'ira. Ve'im ruchi kiviati, Adonai li velo ira. Ve'im ruchi kiviati, Adonai li velo ira.
Linda, can you do me a favor and lift up the challah? Over here, lift up the challah. We lift up the challah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. As you came in peace, may you leave in peace. Please return the prayer books minus the leaflet to the front of the sanctuary and join us at the oneg down the hall. Shabbat Shalom.
and